Hello everyone, Ty Killa here again with our next game in the season. Today we play the Houston Cougars back in Birmingham. Our fifth game of the season. We are 4-0 going into this one. I don't know what the Houston Cougars are. Their record is going into this game. And today's topic will be the Pac-12 title game. But first I want you guys to watch this play right here. First play of the game. Good run by Davis, but he gets hit and it's fumbled. It will be eventually overturned after it is reviewed, but it was kind of interesting way to start the game. Anyway, it's championship weekend here in college football, and so that's pretty exciting. In the SEC, we got essentially a semifinal game to go to the national title game in January. First of all, I wanted to talk about last week. I missed the big games in UCLA and Stanford and the USC Notre Dame game, which I want to apologize for because I kind of was a little biased for the teams I wanted to win instead of looking at the facts or looking at the stats and seeing who would probably win. I really wanted Oregon to go to the national title game, so I was kind of, obviously when I talked a little bit about the scenario that had to happen last week, I kind of picked my games towards that scenario, and that probably wasn't the best decision. I think USC would have beaten Notre Dame with Barkley and maybe even with Max Whittick if Lane Kiffin had some better play calling. And wow, Max Whittick looked pretty good. Maybe not decision making, but he has an arm, and that's going to be interesting to see how he develops in the next couple of years. So keep an eye on that, and hopefully it would be nice for Lee and Woods to stay for their senior years, but who knows. So yeah, I watched that game a little bit, and I don't know, Notre Dame's going to the national championship. Kind of disappointing. But I guess it's better than an SEC, all SEC game. I really don't like the SEC teams mainly, and I don't particularly like Notre Dame either, so it's going to be tough to watch. I'll still watch it though, because that's what college football fans do. They watch the national title game no matter who's in it. Anyway, getting to this weekend, the rematch of UCLA and Stanford. Actually, first I wanted to go back and talk about a little of the other rivalry games that went on. I was playing Xbox while the Arizona State game was on. That was kind of back and forth. That was a pretty fun game to watch. I believe that, I can't even remember. The Sun Devils, I think, pulled it out, but it was back and forth the whole match. And the Washington State game, that's a bitter one for me. We had a 28-point lead going into the third, or in the third, somewhere along there, and we made mistakes, and yeah, I didn't get to watch the ending. I recorded it at my mom's house, but I had to leave when I was watching it, and so I just looked it up on my phone, the score, and I was like, I don't even want to watch the rest. But yeah, I guess Austin Safarian-Jenkins got punched in the face or something. I watched the video just yesterday, and I don't know, I hope they catch the kid, but that is classy Cougars, folks. What else is there? The Oregon State game, no surprise. I'm kind of surprised that one wasn't televised, especially since Oregon State's been doing pretty good this year, and Oregon pretty highly ranked. The final one I want to touch up on outside the Pac-12 is Florida and Florida State. I watched that one a little bit, and it's kind of weird how things happen in sports. I mean, you think, okay, I started the game. I don't think I watched the first couple drives. Florida went up like 14-3 or something. I don't know if that was halftime or not, but I was like, turn it away because I wanted Florida State to win. And so when you're watching it, the team you don't want to win wins, it seems, or is doing good. I turned it to a different game, and then I came back, and Florida State was up. I don't remember right now, but it was up. I think it might have been only 17-14, but they're obviously doing good if they came back. I watched it, kept it on while I was playing Xbox, and I don't remember what the final score was even, but Florida just annihilated them in the second half. So I don't know, it's weird how things work that way. And obviously that's not true. If I'm watching it, it's not gonna, the game doesn't depend on what that I'm watching, I guess I'm trying to say. Anyway, going on to this week's games, we got two since the Nicholls State Oregon State game is rescheduled. I guess I'll talk about that one first. It's a FCS team, so pretty easy to pick Oregon State on this one. It might be nice closing with a win instead of closing with that loss to Oregon. So I don't see anything here. I do think Oregon State goes to a pretty decent bowl, and hopefully they'll win. I don't know who they play. We don't know where they're going yet, but it'll be fun to see them in a bowl game. I pick Oregon State 38-10 over Nicholls State. All right, UCLA at Stanford. It's kind of hard to call this one. I didn't really watch last week. I watched a little bit, kind of like with the Florida State game. Stanford was up, so I tried not to watch that much. But UCLA didn't really have anything to play for. They were already in the Pac-12 title game. So hopefully this week they turn it up a bit. It is in Palo Alto, though, this time. So that gives the Stanford Cardinal a little bit of a swing. But can they beat UCLA twice? UCLA is kind of a young team besides Jonathan Franklin. So we'll see how that plays in. And I think this, if they can win it, it'll be the first 10-win season in a while. So that's another incentive to go to. And Jim Mora is, I believe, in the running for the Coach of the Year in the Pac-12, along with David Shaw and Mike Riley. So it'll be fun to watch. Who I want to win? I'd like to see UCLA, but I'm going to probably go with Stanford. They're going to be ranked higher. They're most likely going to go to the Rose Bowl, I think. Most likely to win this one. It's going to be probably the biggest matchup is Stanford's front seven getting enough pressure on Brett Hundley and stopping Jonathan Franklin and not letting them get any rhythm going. In hindsight, like I said last week, I kind of made the picks based on trying to get Oregon into the BCS title game, but that ain't gonna happen, and I probably would have picked Stanford if I would have blocked that out. I still would have wanted UCLA to win, but Stanford I would have probably picked. But I'm gonna pick Stanford this time. I'm gonna pick them to go to the Rose Bowl. Hopefully UCLA does go to a nice bowl game, because they've had an outstanding year. But I'm going to go with Stanford. I think it's going to be, I don't want to pick a low-scoring game because I know how UCLA can score. And with Stanford, with Hogan behind, I mean, picture this. If Hogan's behind the helm at the start of the year, they most definitely would probably beat Washington. And probably, I would say, beat Notre Dame. Who knows? They could be in the BCS national title game if Hogan would have started, and that's kind of crazy to think about. And their losses were in overtime on a sketchy call, and that 4-point loss to Washington in Seattle. So it's weird to think about. All right, this game's over. So my pick is 27-20. Stanford wins it. Quick recap on this game if you've been watching. Landry got 2 touchdowns. Got that game winner. We fumbled on one of our last drives that allowed Houston to complete a 14-point unanswered swing comeback, but we get it in that last drive. Moore goes 18 for 27, stays healthy the whole game. 3 touchdowns for 303 yards and 1 interception, a 190 QBR rating. And Davis and Alexander combined for a total of 102 rushing yards and a touchdown. And so we pull one out here, 31-28, to go up 5-0. We are still in the hunt, and we got some tough games. Most of our games have been one-possession games or comeback games, last-minute drive games. But hopefully that, hey, we're winning, so I hope that continues. It would be nice to have a nice little cushion, but hey, if we win, that's a win. All right, thanks for watching. Have fun watching the Pac-12 title game, and stay safe if it's snowing where you are. All right, thanks, guys.